Hey, welcome to Two Doctors Homestead. My name is Daniel, and this is Prepper Pantry Pick of the Week. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate having you. Got my notes here and my Prepper Pantry picks for this week. So this week, I decided to jump into 3 different canned meats. They're all great value. They're all about the same size. You got chicken, pork, or beef. Which one do you like? You got 2 12-ounce cans. You got a 12.5-ounce can. So I want to talk about what's in the can, talk about shelf life, get into what it would take to get to a 2,000 calorie diet, and then also just kind of compare what's your actual cost per calorie, what's your cost per gram of protein. It might be kind of a surprise, and then kind of give a little advice on shelf life and whether this is something you really want to heavy stock on for your prepper pantry or your long-term storage pantry. You don't have to be a prepper if you want to build up a pantry. I think it's a good idea for everybody at this point in time. I should point out it's a beautiful 100-degree day here in Texas, so we're enjoying that. The sun's in kind of a weird spot, just time of the day, so hopefully this works out all right. But we'll jump into it now. So I want to get into the chicken, so you might be a little surprised at the math at the end. So this was $3.18 for a can of chicken, great value brand. 3.5 servings per container, 70 calories per serving, 245 calories in the container. That works out to 0.012 per calorie. So 1.2 pennies per calorie, and then 6 pennies per gram. And I'll get into all 3 and do a comparison on that. You don't have to write that one down. So you have 1.5 grams of fat per serving, 40 milligrams of cholesterol, 280 milligrams of sodium, 0 grams of carbs, 13 grams of protein, and there's some potassium in here. No iron. The pork and the beef have iron. 3-year shelf life on the can, but as you know, as a prepper or someone that's building up your pantry, generally they say canned goods can go longer than that. Whether it can go indefinitely, 5 years, 10 years, you got to use your best judgment, but it's got 3 years on the can. So anything beyond that, use your judgment, and always use your judgment, right? Things can go bad before then. All right, so to get to a 2,000 calorie diet, right, and what we look at is the idea of, hey, it's in your pantry, and if you're going to live on this, you could get to 1,500 calories, which is the starvation limit. You know, obviously any of these numbers depend on your own body, but just in general average terms. I did the math today at 2,000 calories because it actually took a lot of math to go through all these cans and get the numbers I want to get. So I just stuck with the 2,000 calories. So to get to 2,000 calories of just chicken, if you just wanted to stock up on chicken and get through one day on the chicken, you would need 8.16 cans, which you can't buy 8.16 cans. So you could either go 8, you could go 9, whatever you want to do. It's $25. There's a lot of options, a lot of 2,000 calorie options for $25. So that price is a little deceiving. And if you ate 2,000 calories of chunky chicken breast, you get 42 grams of fat, 1,142 milligrams cholesterol, 7,996 milligrams of sodium, 0 grams carbs, 317 grams of protein. So that is about 8 times your daily on the protein. So certainly you'd have a ton of protein and a ridiculous amount of salt, right? And the salt just goes up as we're going through. So this was actually, this was the best one, I think, on the sodium. And the only reason I'm mentioning carbs is the pork has carbs, and I think it has to do with the barbecue sauce that's in there. So let me keep moving then on it. So once again, if you wanted to live one day just on canned chicken, you're talking 8.16 cans of chicken, which is a lot of cans of chicken. It's a lot of weight. That's 12 ounces to a can. So let's jump on to the next one. The pork. We'll go ahead and do pork. Pork in barbecue sauce. Once again, this one's got carbs. I think it's the barbecue sauce. So this is $4.12 for the can. 4 servings per container. 110 calories per serving. 440 calories total in the container. That works out to 0.0093 cents per calorie. So about a penny. We can round that up to a penny. I'm giving you the 0.0093 because some of the math doesn't work out later on if I just say it's a penny, right? So 0.0093, you can call it a penny a calorie. 0.08 or 8 cents per gram of protein. Each serving is 6 grams of fat, 40 milligrams cholesterol, 620 milligrams sodium, 9 grams carbs, 12 grams of protein, iron, and potassium, and once again, 3-year shelf life. These all seem to have the exact same shelf life on the container, 3-year shelf life. So to get to a 2,000 calorie diet, if you said I'm just going to live on pulled pork, tasty, great value pulled pork in barbecue sauce, you'd need 4.54 cans, so about 4.5 cans at $18.70 for that day, just for one day of living on the canned beef. In that day, you'd get 108 grams of fat, 726 milligrams cholesterol, 11,259 milligrams of sodium, 163 grams of carbs, 217 grams of protein, iron, and potassium. So that was, about four times your protein, which is probably okay, and a ton of sodium. I'm not going to look at the percentage of your daily on the sodium. You're talking about 11,000 milligrams of sodium. Lots of sodium in this. So I'm going to get to a summary on these in a second. I want to keep going through. We hit 3 of them this time. Roast beef, good old roast beef, in beef broth, fully cooked. So this is $3.74, which is 3.5 servings per container, 110 calories per serving, 385 calories in the can. Works out to 0.0097 cents per calorie. So we call it a penny a calorie, and 5 cents per gram of protein. So you got 2.5 grams of fat, 55 milligrams of cholesterol, 440 milligrams of sodium, 0 grams of carbs, 20 grams of protein, iron, and potassium per serving. 3-year shelf life, same shelf life. So to get to a 2,000 calorie diet, if you only want to live on the roast beef and beef broth, you'd need 5.19 cans per day at a cost of $19.41 just for the roast beef. And in that 2,000 calorie day, you get 45 grams of fat, 999 milligrams of cholesterol, 7,992 milligrams of sodium, 0 carbs, 363 grams of protein, iron, and potassium, right? So any of these, and I've talked about canned goods before, certainly not telling you not to do the canned goods in your pantry, in your long-term pantry, or just for general food. You are talking about a lot of sodium. And honestly, on these canned meats, when you're talking about one can might be great, the chicken. So in terms of cost, you've got $3.18 for the chicken. You have $3.74 for the roast beef, $4.12. And that might be an acceptable cost to you, and I totally understand that. It's easy to get, maybe you put it away, it's a treat, whatever that is to you. When you're talking about a day's worth to actually get to that 2,000 calories, we'll do it in reverse. So, which is interesting because the chicken, I said the chicken is 0.12 per calorie. The chicken was the cheapest per can to get a can of chicken, but in terms of the calories, this was a 1.2. The pork was 0.8. and the roast beef was 0.5. So the cost per calorie, 0.12, 0.0093 for the pork, 0.0097 for the roast beef. So the cost per calorie is higher on the chicken. Even though the can is less expensive, the cost per calorie is higher on the chicken than anything else. The cost per gram of protein was highest on the pork than anything else. So you kind of have to look at when you're buying it. Are you just buying it because, hey, you want a can of chicken, which I can totally respect that? Are you buying it because you need those calories to survive? In that case, the pork was the cheapest per calorie, even if it's the most expensive can. Are you doing it specifically the pork, specifically for the protein, which in that case, the roast beef was the cheapest per gram of protein, second most expensive can at $3.74. So the cost for the can doesn't necessarily relate to the cost of the contents, if that makes sense, in terms of how much you're paying per calorie, how much you're paying per gram of protein. Yes, you're getting your chicken, you're getting your beef, you're getting your pulled pork, there's sauce in there, there's juices in there. But in terms of cost per day, or the amount of cans you'd have to have just to survive for one day, and this is not just the apocalypse, right? This is any day. If you want to hit that FDA 2,000 calorie day, you're talking 8.16 cans, $25 on the chicken. You're talking $19.41 on the roast beef, 5.19 cans. And you're talking $18.70 on the pulled pork, 4.54 cans. So, I mean, you get $25 for a day's worth of food just to get that 2,000 calories. My mind would never immediately go to canned chicken, right? If you said I got $25 today to eat, I'm not going to say, hey, great, let's go get 8 cans of chicken and we're going to rock this. This is going to be a great meal for $25. So the cheapest cost based entirely on calories was the pork. Even the pork, you're talking 4.54 cans. So cost per calories just isn't there, and I get it, right? You need protein. We all need protein, and you want to get protein, and you should have protein. I'm not saying you shouldn't have these. If you're doing your math based just on protein, 0.6 cents per gram, 0.8, 0.5. It's not horrible, right? That's meat. I'm not against meat. I'm not putting meat down. What I'm saying is canned meat may not be the most cost-effective option, right? When you're hitting $25 a day, $18 a day, $19 a day, there are other options. You can get freeze-dry. You can get a lot of other things at that price range. If you're just looking individual cans, I get it, and that works out. But in terms of math, said we get canned meats, we'll eat them. We love the shelf life. There's a long shelf life there. It'll be around for a long time. That pulled pork with the barbecue sauce is going to last a long time. Give us that protein and a ton of salt, right? That is one thing I caution on any of the canned goods, right? Especially these, is a lot of salt. So it's something to keep in mind, right? I wouldn't lean excessively heavy into these canned meats. We might make a couple more videos on them. There's a bunch of them out there. I like these because you got chicken, beef, or pork, so you get 3 basic brands or 3 basic choices. The cans are all fundamentally the same size. One's a ½ ounce difference. Some of it's just preference, right? Which one do you like? There's certainly a different flavor profile. You might like chicken more than beef or pork. Some people won't eat pork, and that's okay too. Get the one you like. But in terms of cost per calorie, cost per protein, not always the best option, right? And really, you see that with a lot of canned goods. I was looking at canned beans. I think it was 5 times the price of dry beans. So when you're building out that pantry, when you're building out your long-term food storage plan, certainly convenience has to be part of that. And these are convenient in the sense that I could just eat it right now, open the can, and I'm good to go. And if you're willing to pay for that convenience, certainly do that, right? We want your pantry to be balanced, have options, have some flexibility. But if you have to carry it with you, and you want to live on it, what do we say? 8 cans. Carrying 8 cans for one day is not really practical when they're 12.5 ounces each. So in terms of bug out or just camping, it's not going to be your best option, right? Certainly, now when you look at how many you have to carry, how expensive it is to actually get to those calories. A can feels like it's got a good weight to it, but in terms of what's in there, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of calories. Protein's there, right? Your protein's there in terms of getting your daily, but you'd want to supplement that with something else, some other calorie source. So in terms of, hey, I just need that protein, and a lot of cases you might, depending on you, that's certainly an option. But once again, when you're talking that much per day, $25, $18, $9, chicken, pork, roast beef, there's a lot of options out there. So I hope that helps out. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.